This is season 3. I am so happy to be here at my favorite number, and I am ready to make this your favorite season yet. We've made some exciting changes based on the feedback from our audience. Thank you to everyone who shared their thoughts on how we can make things better. We're gonna push to make this one bigger and better than ever. More intentional conversations, better visuals, because yes, this podcast does have a visual version live on YouTube, and better audio for your ears to love on all streaming platforms. Subscribe to our Patreon to get access to all of the episodes 2 weeks early. Feel free to reach out to us and let us know what you love about the show and what you think we can do better. And please remember to share this with your friends and family. Enjoy the episode. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me
on the podcast. I just curious. You saw the podcast through where? What did you see?
It's funny. I saw the podcast through. I don't know his name, but it was a fellow filmmaker, creator, video
Paulo,
creator. Yeah,
right?
but I didn't know him. It was like through a bunch of mutual friends. Like I guess you know. 2 degrees of separation away, like that were reposting it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I liked what he was talking about, and I was like, I definitely had a lot of like similar feelings too.
You vibed with it. I'm sure you heard it and was like, this is.
I'm like, I've been saying this for a while. Like, I feel you. Trust me.
I'm actually glad that that's the way you found out about it. Just because with any kind of media that you put online, any kind of content, you always want somebody new to see it. And I feel like that one got a lot of traction just because it seems like a lot of people related to that issue that he was speaking on.
Yeah, there's like so many. So you could get into a lot.
Which we're gonna get into all that. Don't worry about it. So for everybody that's watching, this is I Feel You episode 8. I'm pretty sure of season 3, and here we have with us a new friend, someone I just met today. Just walked into the spot. Jamie Dolan is how you pronounce your last name? Dolan?
Yep.
Jamie Dolan, everybody. This is the man right here.
Yep. The man, the myth, the legend. No.
Real quick, just so everybody knows who Jamie is. Jamie is a young independent producer. He's a video producer. He has been producing videos and films since age 15. He is 26 now, so 11 years in the industry.
Nice little span.
Born and raised in Farrockaway and Rockaway Beach, which is Queens, right?
Yep.
Queens.
Bottom of Queens.
Let's talk
the
about Queens. There you go.
Yeah. Something to say.
And just so you guys know, Jamie has produced music videos for artists like Offset, Moneybagg Yo, K-Flock, Fivio Foreign, Herbo, Malu Trevejo, Juicy J. Also worked with Bella Hadid, Shawn Mendes, SZA, Kid Cudi, Lil Nas X, Chloe Cherry, Bella Thorne. I hope I'm pronouncing all those names right. There's so many names on there. Right?
I did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I recognize all those names, but sometimes. And you've also worked with companies like McLaren, Converse, Cadillac. You co-created Day by Day, which was a narrative podcast of fictional stories, which the Face magazine calls the best thing to emerge from quarantine. Yeah. The show featured talents such as Sydney Sweeney, Julia Fox, Academy Award nominee Lucas Hedges, another Academy Award nominee, David
Strathairn. That's a hard one to pronounce.
That's a tough one right there.
That's a tough one.
Amongst others as well. So Jamie's work as a producer has been showcased at prestigious festivals across the world, including TIFF, London Film Festival, Cannes, Fantastic Fest, so many. You have a massive resume, it seems.
I've been hustling it for a long time now.
Yeah.
Starting from DIY and up. Like
talk about a little bit about because you said 15. Actually, you know what? Better said, what even is a video producer? Because I'm sure most people don't even know
where to begin.
What a producer is or what they do. Most people hear and I don't speak from experience. I'm a little bit in and out of the film industry. I haven't done much, but I love acting. That was like what I started doing.
Yep.
And of music video production as well with Project Feel. And whenever I hear producer, when I used to hear producer, I'd always think like, oh, that's the person who just puts the money and like gives the money or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming most people would even think when they think about video producers. But
so this is a hot topic. Yeah, this is a hot topic. So yes, like you have the people that are outside of the industry, they hear producer, assume money, and then people that are in music specifically hear producer and they think beats. And yes, there is a producer, for music that produces the beats and tracks and whatnot. But a producer is everything. So I'm gonna get into this. So as a producer, the way I like to like break it down, a good analogy is a producer is like the CEO of a company. So it's like you're responsible for everyone and everything. Like you take something, like if you're a CEO, like you have a blueprint, plan, you take that, execute it as a producer. You have a script, you have a creative, and you take that and execute it from, you know, whether you're bringing on the director, hiring cast, talent, crew, this, that, the next, raising
editors,
money, everything comes, everything comes into part, and you oversee everything start to finish. And you know, it's the highest position of power in the film industry. And it's just that there's lots of like confusion around it because there's like, you know,
so many different kinds of producers.
For sure.
That's fascinating. And you do that.
Yeah, I do that. So I started young, and I was doing everything myself with no money. So it's like I learned how to produce on the ground very early. So it's like when I'm producing, I'm truly like in the mud producing, side by side with the directors, and you know, we're just like batting together.
How do you do that at 15 years old? Like, because when I hear 15-year-olds who have done it or when they started doing it, it's never in the positions where they're like doing anything like management wise. They're always wanting to usually be like the artist or the director or something like that. You know, how did you? Why would you say that you started video producing at 15? Like, what was it?
This goes deep too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I grew up in Farrockaway, Rockaway. You know, like went to school in the hood, and like we just didn't have access to many like creative outlets. We had no way to express our creativity. And I was always a creative person, regardless of what I grew up and what I grew up around. So deep down inside, I was a movie lover. I watched a lot of Scorsese growing up.
Of course. Scorsese,
If you're watching it now. And I so I just had the itch. I had the itch for film, but not coming from that world. Like my dad's a plumber and my mom, was at the post office. Wow. I had no access to knowing what anything was. So I just saw movies, actors, and screen. And I was like, oh, I want to be a part of this. And I was like, so I thought I wanted to be an actor. So I was pursuing acting for a little while. You know, and I was just kind of like sick of the politics. And I found that out pretty early because I was like 13, 14 trying to do stuff. Just was like, oh, interesting. Like this is, it's a lot of funny business surrounding this.
Even at that age,
Yeah, I was in acting classes. It was all this stuff. And I met some people along the way, and they were like, if you ever have a project you want to make, like we own cameras, like nothing fancy, but we have, and, you know, there's a few areas, like they had a bunch of DSLRs. They're like, you know, we can make a little something. And I was like, you know, if I want something, I'm very optimistic. I'm like, I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to fight for it. So I had this short film idea to do, which eventually landed as a full-length script. Like 75 minutes worth of a movie.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're like, well, you know, we don't have money. We have the cameras. Like, we could just do this very run and gun and kind of like put the other people. So I co-wrote it with somebody. I produced it, and I was starring it at the time because I still thought I wanted to be an actor. So I was like, this is my vehicle to like get myself out as an actor.
That's usually how it starts.
And, you know, that when it finally got going I was 16.
Wow.
It went on for 2 years. So it was 16 to 18 because I raised $3,000 to do it, which just covered food and transportation. I had a free location in Jersey at the director's place in his building. So I was just like, that was my film school. I went to high school in Farrockaway. I didn't go to college. And after that process and like just like learning everything the hard way and really, really like
2 years
falling, I was like, I really love creatively, because I cast the whole thing too, so I was like, I really love creatively executing things and making stuff happen. I'm like, that's my strong suit. And then from there I started producing. I was like, that's what a producer was. And I had if I would have heard producer at that time, I would probably think, oh, like the money guy too. I had no clue. So it wasn't until I jumped in the fire that I learned, and you know, that stuck.
That is so cool.
History following.
That is so cool. That is so great to hear. I'm also 26. And around that age, I think I was also just discovering art in general. I didn't know anything about anything, like, because I was, raised Christian. We listened to Christian music, and we didn't watch any kind of like crazy movies. It was just like the safe stuff, right? We also didn't really go watch movies at all as a family, unless it was like a Fast and the Furious movie,
right?
Which isn't really safe, but you know what I mean. So it's cool to hear a story where like you, because to write a full length like as a first thing, which I feel like some people try to do that, they'll like attempt to do something like that, but it always turns into something much smaller. it's good to hear that you started small and then it like suddenly it just became this bigger than you thought it was going to be. For sure. Least. Yeah. Did it ever like come out? Like, was it a finished project or?
Yeah, it's a very complicated scenario because it was just like there was lack of money in certain areas like sound and whatnot. So like certain things were compromised and product that showed. So there were certain things that I wanted to change that the people I had worked on it didn't want to, because it was just like it took a lot of our time. They were just kind of like, we should release it, and I disagreed because I was like trying to perfect it, and I was like, this has, as their name was stamped on it, my name was stamped on it, and I was just like, this needs to change. For sure. But there wasn't mutual agreement. So like the film kind of like, there's beautiful moments, there's actors in it that have gone on to do very well, nice. But it might be out there somewhere, but it's not the version.
We're not gonna talk about it.
But I have proud moments of it. Like,
the
film was made for $3,000 on DSLRs over 2 years.
That's pretty insane. Yeah, that's pretty nuts. Especially back in the days, like DSLRs weren't nearly as like insane as they are now.
For sure.
Like,
we didn't have the social capacities.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was back in the day when DSLRs were still like basically just photography cameras.
Taking photos
they could do video for some reason. Like, no control, like it was that's such an early
for sure time. Now your favorite music videos for like young creators
shoot
that
everything on
shooting it on
shoot
DSLRs.
Everything on DSLRs here too. Like that's what we started with. We bought a DSLR back then, and I don't know if you know a lot about cameras and stuff like that. The Canon,
fair amount,
ADD. There's a Canon ADD which was so we started using for video. And back in the day when you don't really know, I feel like everything that you get that's new is like, oh, this is so good. Like this look like this isn't my phone. Like look how good this looks. Like
people are still shooting videos on an iPhone. So
but you don't really know unless you know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's movies that have been shot on. That's how advanced technology has been. Back then, it would have been a little bit of a different conversation. But
what was your first like big hit in terms of a project?
Big hit. So. I mean, I'll like through line this, but so like after I made that film, I went on to produce this film called Foreplay, which was a movie that was approximately like 80 minutes long, and it was shot in one take. So it was 80 minutes long, one take, no cuts, no edits, no tricks, one real take. And cool. That film went on to play a few theaters, and then I had moved to LA following that, and I made a film with a bunch of like young actresses that have really taken off, like Maya Hawke, who's Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's daughter. Yeah, she's had a lot of success now. But I mean, so it's like I had done a few films throughout that, and like some had rewards, some didn't. Like like in the immediate. But
there's success, but it wasn't
they had
like,
success. I think the most rewarding thing to me in the past few years is this podcast I created during COVID. Because it was at a time where we were stripped of everything, and we decided to take that and make something of it to like, move and motivate people. Yeah. So you made this podcast. It was done remote. Everyone recorded on iPhones from their own house, and you listen to it, and it's like something made out of the studio. And it was just like the outreach. We highlighted charities every episode, and ended up doing millions and millions of downloads. And like the constant message that we received was like from like young girls that were between the ages of 14 and 18 saying how this changed their life and like saved them. So it was like very like, it was like, cause we like covered mental health. It was just like talking about what people,
you had a lot of influential female figures.
Yes. There were
in those.
Exactly. And even if they thought that they were like, a lot of times people thought that like, oh, my favorite actress is just talking about mental health, but it was all performed and scripted. But to have someone of influence behind that specific thing in a time of despair really moved a lot of people. So like,
that's beautiful.
That was the most rewarding, because like, that's very hard to, it's very hard to touch and that's come
incredible.
Across, so,
I read the article that mentions you. It's the I think was that one, the Office magazine article?
Yeah,
that was the one.
Yes,
it kind of goes over your experience as a video producer.
Yeah, exactly. That was the first time we teamed up to like do a piece on a producer, and what like similar to what I was opening this up with, what a producer means, what it looks like. Because every video, every movie, podcast, whatever it is, everything starts somewhere different, and some are a lot easier, some are a lot harder, some take a lot longer. Some like I have a video I'm supposed to do Saturday with, I don't know when this will come out, so it'll probably be done, but with with some big artists, and like I just found out about it today, and I have a 2-day turnaround. But it's a massive video for like A-list artists. And
do you sleep?
I do. I actually, I fall asleep everywhere. That's the problem. I think I sleep too much. I don't know. Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah.
Wow, that's is it always like that where you just you get a gig and it's like, well, I just gotta do this, like how do you go about, because it's something that Paulo said, which is the person that you saw in the last show,
right?
Which he also had a similar experience, is that, you know, sometimes they'll call you and be like, hey, yo, we got a video that we want dropped Friday.
Yeah.
And we're in LA right now. Can you come out and shoot something in LA real quick? We need this, this, that. And it has to be dropped by Friday and it has to be this and that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's very circumstantial.
Yeah.
So like, and I guess we could speak about music videos specifically. Like, yeah, there's been many times where you get hit up last minute and be like, okay, I need this video filmed then, and I need to turn around within 2 days. And it's such a good opportunity where you're like, this is going to be near impossible, but you know, you don't stress that and you just make it happen if it's worth it. So there's lots of those scenarios. But to think back on like a pretty wild one recently was I was doing 2 videos for Malu in the same week.
Wow.
Which was already stressed because the first one was a huge video taking place in Washington Heights, like 100+ people.
I think I saw that on social media.
Yeah, it was Tulo Tienes. It was like, it was a lot. It was a lot for that, and they really needed to get. She was in a certain
crowd,
and like we had a small team.
Yeah,
it was just like
organize something like that. Must have been nuts.
And they had this second video they wanted to do, in which like she was only in town from this amount of time. So it was like they're like, can you make it happen? And we ended up taking it on. And then I, at the same time, got hit up while I was like gearing up for both of these videos. It was Wednesday and a Friday to be shot. And then somebody, like a friend, hit me up and was like, I have this offset Moneybagg Yo video starring Bella Hadid. We're shooting Thursday. We needed someone in New York to produce it. Can you do it? And in my head, I'm like, probably not. But I was like, yeah, damn right I could do it. I was like, you're damn right I could do it. Yeah. I was like, this is the scenario. I got these 2 videos. That's probably going to kill me, but it's worth making happen. I was like, if I have the right support, I know I could,
For sure.
Yeah, because it's like at the end of the day, no matter what I take on, I need to make sure, I want to make sure that I deliver to the best of my ability. So luckily I was able to hire some cool people to help me out.
Man,
so that was really big.
The
but
the Moneybagg one is the one that it's out already.
Yeah,
right?
it's called Code.
Yeah, it has like over 3 million views.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that one today.
And that was a really cool video.
That was a fire one.
Half
cool.
of it shot in LA, half of it was in New York. But
Jeez,
man.
And
actually, I'm lying. It wasn't. It was. And the specific days may be wrong, but it was Wednesday and Thursday. So Malu's videos were whatever. All I know is the offset, or it was Wednesday and Friday, but the Malu video and offset video, the second one, were the same day. So I was supposed to shoot from the beginning of the day and then like go shoot at like 9 p.m. for Malu. So it was the same day. Man. Yeah, that's where it was like.
The biggest thing that you would take for granted too, and I don't know if this happened at all, but like sometimes, with talent and even with crew and like the people that you hire, like one person being late that's crucial to the project can just ruin.
Yep.
Just one person can ruin just your whole day.
My mind instantly goes to one instance, but I'm not gonna get into. I don't want to.
We're not gonna shout
anyone
nobody
a
out.
bad rap,
Yeah.
but like. Yeah, I've we've had to wait a few 7+ hours for specific artists. Like, yeah.
I mean, I can't even their own concerts. People are hours and hours late.
Yeah.
So I
don't really have much respect for that because it's just like unless as long as people are being compensated for their time, but it's just like it takes an army to put this stuff together.
The amount of energy that's being put behind one person, one artist, and it's technically not one person. It's usually like a major label or a bunch of people dealing with that artist that are making dividends off of that. But like it's just one like that's such a simple thing to just be on time, and usually there's some circumstances that would excuse something like that, but usually they're just like fucking around.
Usually it's just it's usually just fucking around, and it's it's inconsiderate to like a lot of people work very hard. Some of these like most time crew specifically are working 8 days a week. Like that's how but like they're working that much, like they don't stop. So it's like they may have a certain amount of time in which they could do it, and they're like just hanging it in, and then you get an extra 8 hours bumped on top of it waiting for an artist, in which you were like, and it doesn't make it.
And then you have a lot of pressure coming from a lot of external sources just to get these things done. And we talked briefly about it in the beginning. just talking about how you related to what Whip was saying in that, that episode. What has your experience been like in terms of dealing with this industry and like, kind of being hired so frequently to create content and, I guess you related to the challenges that they spoke on, and like, I guess from your perspective, what are those challenges like for you?
Oh man. So I'm not going to lie. I'm at a point in my life and career where I'm very frustrated with the system. I like, and I understand there's this is on a grand level, and there's a lot of things that need to change simultaneously for there to be change, or at least like person by person making the efforts. But a lot of people don't think that they could do anything. Individuality, actually, but that's not true. And I just feel like the industry is not in favor of the people behind the scenes that put in so much to get this stuff made. Yeah. And it's like we're battling like we're battling fine. We're like, as a producer, as a director, we're not seeing like, if a video goes on to be successful, an artist goes on to do billions of streams in the video, like we're not seeing a dime off of that. Like we get paid to make the video and that's it. And in most cases, like our creatives are helping elevate these songs. But I think my bigger problem, and I want to get into this specifically, is in the music industry, how there is a lot. So I want to word this as precisely as possible.
You got it.
So a lot of people, I'm going to refer to artists. So, hip hop specifically. Yeah. Hip hop rap stems from the streets.
Yes.
Like most of these people are making music because like they have a story to tell, and they're unfavored in their communities and the places that they're like brought up in, and don't have access, resources, finances. It's just straight poverty. And they have the dream and talent to be beyond that, and the only way out is like to make music to reach mass audience, or reach the masses or whatever, or just for people to hear them.
For sure.
And we're at a time right now where a lot of people, a lot of platforms are manipulating and capitalizing off of these people's real life problems, but only at a time in which they've become viral or sensations based off of like some like fucking really shitty circumstances. Like there's been artists that are very famous now, like from boroughs throughout New York City, that I've called. I was like, they're gonna be stars, and like nobody wanted to hear, nobody wanted to listen to. And then they go viral for making songs about talking about people that they killed whether they did or not. Speaking about it, and then everybody behind the scenes wants to jump on it, throw money at it, and try to act like they were supporting it from the beginning. But it's such a fucked up and corrupt way, like a way to maneuver through it, because it's like a lot of these people are actually like most of these people are living through like this stuff, and this is real, and like it's not amusement because it's not funny, and these people need guidance and support. And maybe if they had the support from early on, they wouldn't have been in certain situations that they end up in. And it's just really infuriating to me to see the system like only support people after they're going viral based off of some really fucked up shit. And I'm not seeing any programs. I'm not seeing any influential people within the industry, whether they run a show, whether they run a podcast, whether they run a label, whether they're a huge artist, supporting these people, putting money to guide any of this. Yet they're trying to capitalize off of people when they have fame, but these people are facing murder charges, and there's just no guidance to help or educate the youth and prevent this shit. So that's very infuriating, and I've seen it like firsthand, my entire life. I still witness it, and I'm very fed up with it, and it's unfortunate. And I know there is plenty of room to make change, but I'm just not seeing it. Like my brother fucking did 6 years and just came home a few months ago. Wow. And like, I've done a lot in my career. So it's like, I have relationships where people respect me. People hit me up to produce videos for A-list artists. And like, Like I'll show my brother's music around other people in similar scenarios that have real talent, but may not have the platform because they've been away so long. Yeah. And it's just like overlooked and people don't care. But if he goes, on the news having murdered 2 people and his song's viral, then everyone's trying to throw money and like sign a deal on it. And then you have people like P. Diddy coming out saying New York is in last place in terms of music. And it's just like these people are doing nothing to contribute. Absolutely. And I don't even want to I really don't care, to be honest, but like I'm just like, instead of like making this like a clout game and a numbers game, just like take your money, go to these neighborhoods and help these kids that have nothing, that do have talent, and stop only looking for specific like viral numbers to like help, because these kids need guidance and help, and there's a lot of talent out there, and there's a way to prevent a lot of this crime happening, because a lot of it is stemming from these specific like areas. If I'm being real, like crime is at an all-time high right now, and people behind the scenes are just capitalizing off it, and it's fucked up, so I'm frustrated with that, and I'm trying to use my resources and my platform to speak up about that, whether people like it or not, because it's the truth, and no one else wants to say it. I'm going to continue to say it, and I have been. So
and man, that's honestly I didn't expect you to broach this topic and like make it about that specifically, but like I've been hearing a lot about this too. Like this there's a lot more sentiment out there about this specific situation. There's I don't know if Channel 5 News, the Andrew Callahan guy.
Right.
Did you see the one about the war on Chirac?
I saw a little bit. I haven't gotten too into it. But
speaking on just that, where that culture where that was really revealed to be the truth in terms of like how we capitalize on those kind of industries. Speaking on like DJ Academics, and now he made a whole YouTube page about just war, like gang violence and wars in Chicago, and like people genuinely being murdered. And then the music that was being produced and the music that was being released and pushed by labels was music basically like the soundtracks to these murders.
Right.
The soundtrack to this movie that was ongoing in Chicago about real gang violence. I think it's and like you said, there's so many moving parts and so many things would have to change for that to be real, for those things to be acknowledged. And one of the biggest things is this entertainment culture that we have that exists, and where the people can watch from a distance while feeling really no effects. And it's so insane to see when people are brought to light about those things, how easy it is for them to push blame so like there'd be like DJ Academics, he'd be like, yeah, well, I was just reporting on it, they were going to do it even if I wasn't, this and that, and then they push the blame to a label. And then he talks to Adam Jumper, or Adam from 22, from the Jumper No Jumper, and he will say like, well, it's the music, it's not. I'm just reporting on and then you talk to someone who does the music, and they're like, well, the music isn't causing.
Isn't that the funny thing, right? It's like because people want to benefit off of numbers, And then when it comes down to having the real conversation,
like, hey, what's behind this person just got killed last week, and they were on your show, or you reported on this, and people were basically enjoying that scenario where it's like, oh, they got beef. Like, I wonder what's going to happen if somebody dies. And it's like, okay, well, the music does well. They blow up, the label benefits, and they move forward.
Exactly. And then their video and channel is doing numbers, which is resulting in more attention and more eyes, which is like eventually resulting in monetization of that if it already hasn't. And these people are just playing the card. Oh, I don't know. I'm just exactly.
Well, go look at them because they're gonna do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? That's
exactly. That's I'm calling every last one of their bluff. It's cap. It's like it's out of selfish. It's selfish. It's nothing but greed, and that's like operating from like a sociopathic state because like these people have platforms to actually help and guide. Yet it's like, okay, like, can I benefit off of this? Yeah. If I can't benefit, I have people in the street. Like. Half of this stuff is a lot of people are putting on shows for entertainment of stuff that's not even happening. Like, and then you have people that really like have been involved in stuff that come out and they're trying to change their lives and do better and have somewhere to speak, and they're not being looked at because they don't care. They don't have the numbers yet.
And there are people on O Block saying, like, you people don't want to hear like, oh, I'm gonna go kill this person. Like, oh, if you pull up, I'm gonna kill. People want to hear you say, I killed this guy, we killed this person. That's what people are looking for.
Yeah.
And it goes into the culture thing. That's why I said it was the biggest thing, is because there's an audience for this shit.
There is.
There's an audience that is aggressively pushing this. They have no idea how much they are just perpetuating this. How are they consistently? There are artists coming out of these boroughs and these spots, these streets. There are artists coming out of those streets making millions and millions of dollars off of the music. At least thousands. How is it that those communities aren't seeing that or benefiting from that? You look at these communities and they're the same way that they were when this whole thing started. They're still doing the same thing. And you look at the benefit that they're, and there's no visible change.
There isn't. Where are the people that are behind the artists that are coming from specific areas? They're only coming around when it's time to shoot a video to act like this is still what is. Like, they're not going back to their community looking to give back and help educate. There's no money being put to that.
They're going to shoot their videos over there.
It's just like, let me benefit off of like what's in Facebook. Like, and that shit's just so not it. And it's really a shame. It's just like, it turns me away so much. But like, I feel like I'm one of the few real people that I'm fighting and pushing against this, because I've been around and I've seen it. I'm affected and dealing with it personally. But I feel like until people are directly, and it's affecting their family or something, then it's just like, it's all fun and games to make money. And there's too much power. There's too much influence, and like this is really a call to be like, step up, like change your manners. Like, if you have platforms and research, change. Like, it's not all about the like, everyone needs to make money and everyone needs to eat, but like, use your power and resources to make change and to help these people. Like, otherwise, get the fuck out of it. Like, get the fuck out of this industry. Get the fuck out of this field, or like stop capitalizing off people that are like really fucking struggling and have no guidance. Like, you know,
that's so difficult to. And it's gonna be, it might never change. Like, that's the difficult thing to come to terms with, is that money is very powerful. And some of these kids, man, like most of those kids on those blocks and those streets, and I'm sure you've seen this firsthand, and I've seen it firsthand as well, is that most people just do anything for money, man. Like there's almost nothing that people won't do for that to get out of their circumstances. And
usually the mindset is, I don't have any other option. While you may have another option, people don't have the guidance or education to think beyond that, because it's like, you know a certain thing. Like, you don't have anybody telling you have people behind your back telling you like, this is like, So and there's a lot of growth right now in this industry, and like, in which that could be like, just for like young people, where that could be changed and this stuff could be prevented.
For sure.
There's not enough effort.
I think that now that we're talking about it more, I think people like Andrew Callahan, who made a documentary like that, I think he speaks to that audience directly sometimes. Like, the audience that feeds that, he can speak to them directly. So it's important that more people like him, and we need more people like him and more people that are willing to call it out and do the work that it takes to like make a change, and less people like DJ Academics who are just willing to just benefit off of it and just fill their pockets with blood that they didn't spill. Like, that's all they're doing.
I might even get into that. No, I could, but I'm not gonna. But exactly.
And I just want to show appreciation for you mentioning that, because I'm sure a lot of the people that are watching this don't really know about all that, and all of those things, because you see, like, there's general conversations when an artist dies where it's like, people will be they'll show their outrage and a little bit in terms of the music still being released and the obvious benefit from that death. Like, there's general conversations, but there are actual current people, their lives right now that are being affected directly by the music industry. It is there are actual wars going on in these streets.
Yep, there is.
And there's entertainment that is being created through those wars,
and
through those impoverished communities.
Or killed at very young ages,
young ages.
Because it is. And
yes.
And like, people that aren't inside of that do like find that as entertainment because they don't really understand that this is like, it's funny, right? Like, but no, this shit is real shit. There's real shit happening. Yeah. It's very sad and it could be prevented.
How, and it's, I guess it's, it's tough for the individual. Like you said, like some people feel like their voices don't really matter, or their influence. What can someone do?
Well, think about it, right? Like, for an artist to be successful, to go viral, to be famous, like, it's a collective of like person by person by person coming listening to them. So it's like you got to think of it from the flip side. It's like if you could tune in and listen to an artist, why can't you tune in on the other end and like try to be a part of the change and help guide people? Or why can you be a part of the change and help call out some platforms that are just like simply like capitalizing and manipulating off of like real life shit and success. It's like as easy as it is to listen to somebody is as easy as it is to fight or to like just speak out or just not support. Like unfollow, like if these people aren't trying to make a difference, if these channels or platforms aren't trying to do any good or they aren't doing any good, unfollow them. Because as quickly, like you could like look at Kanye is a great example. Kanye is one of was top of the game, and now people are starting to strip him from his power. So when people are stripped from their power, then what do they have? And that's a collective of mass people. So as people tag on, people could tag off.
Yeah.
So like that's a real thing. Yeah. I think people just like don't really, break it down as so, but that's it's like it's pretty simple math.
I mean, they are the money.
Yeah.
Like
we are the money.
We are the money, essentially.
The people are the money.
Yeah. Which is there's so much power in that. There's so much innate power that it's like that is the greater power. Yep. That is the thing that actually push. And this is something that I hear about a lot in politics too. I don't hate politics, but not to make it political.
The nature surrounding
is that people feel like their system is not to their benefit, or there are laws being passed, or there are things that are happening within government or within your local communities that aren't favorable. But a lot of the things that we see, and people don't really want to come to terms with this because it's better to just push blame like we always do.
Right.
People don't really know that we truly do live in a democratic society. As much as people don't want to admit it, what we see in government, what we see in politics, and what we see in entertainment, which is also a form of politics, what we see in culture, they are all things that we want to see. Yes. That even if it's not you as an individual, we as a collective, we want to see certain things. And the best place to notice that, funny enough, is Twitter. Yeah. The amount of videos that circle around about fights, people just beating each other to a pulp, people actually shooting at people, killing people, the amount of circulation on social media of that entertainment, and the amount of retweets and likes and push those videos get. And then you see something like on the other side of the internet, and it's very wholesome, it's very good, it's healthy for you, it's something that you can share it'll have like half the engagement.
Isn't that funny how like all platforms like you could just be like, you could genuinely have talent, and it's like that's not being pushed out, or people aren't like,
nobody cares.
No, people aren't like, even on TikTok, and TikTok has a lot of like great benefits to it because it gives people a platform in any field. Like,
sure, yeah, and the algorithm works.
But there's so much hate out there where it's like you could just like be like genuinely trying to put out good work and good art, and people like are just like hate or ignore or like pass by, and then fight happens or this happens. They're like, it's so funny, but there's not enough energy towards like the good shit and trying to like boost people, and it's and the
important conversations as well that people don't really want to have. And, you know, when I say the audience, I mean the people like you watching this right now. That's who I'm speaking to when I say those things, is that we oftentimes we push the wrong kind of content.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as just liking something.
Yep.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
If you just don't like it, you are actively contributing to that content not being where it could be. You like one thing, and that video is probably getting put in front of 10 other people.
Yeah.
Because you liked it specifically.
Yeah, I've been like doing that a lot recently.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm scrolling and I see something, if I see a creator, whether it's making a funny skit or somebody's making a song, if I find something I like, I'll reach out to them directly and just be like, yo, like you made me laugh, or like this is good, like, and people don't understand how much of an impact, because everyone is always like, oh, like, well, what is my word? No, your word means a lot. Somebody could be fucking like at wit's end, and this is the video they put out, like trying to keep them like, if someone puts out a video like trying to keep them afloat, like just like mentally, and nobody's paying any attention. You could be the one person that reached out and is like, oh, like this is funny, I like this is good, you have talent, like keep going, and that could really like. That can make change for people. So it's just like, it's that simple. Like it's not, and I think, you know, and it starts with the people. It starts with the person.
It starts with us, man. It starts with us. And this is something that I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is a commitment that we can all make to just push better content, to push things that matter for our society, and things that can make a change in the way that we want it to.
Exactly.
To like if we, and it's hard. We're not going to reach everybody at all times, but I want to, you know, thank you for wanting to use your voice to push this message, because, you know, it takes people like you to make that change, and to even start that, to even begin to move the tide, you know. For
sure. Yeah. And like, let's do it truly. Like simple and respectfully. So
exactly.
Like, you know, need to sit here and break down everyone and be like, you're an awful person for doing this.
Exactly.
Like, it's not about that.
No,
like,
it's not at all.
It's just like, if you're watching or listening to this, like, make that effort. And like, and if you see these people that you are contributing to them having platforms, and like they're not doing any good for where all this is stemming from, or not trying to help the youth and the next generations, unfollow them. Simply strip them from their power, because
that's
like.
it. And we have the power to do that. We have the very, very tangible and very real power.
And we need to
do
remember that.
Yeah.
Simply.
And we use it in the right ways.
Yep.
Let's stop thinking about.
Exactly.
Let's stop looking back 10 years to see some random joke that somebody made on Facebook when they were 15 years old trying to cancel. Let's cancel people for making terrible decisions. And let's actually not even think about. Like, it's so much better to just not think about the faces that are in front of you. We need to affect the systems that are behind those faces, because they are the people perpetuating the negativity that we're experiencing.
Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone's human. Everyone deserves to be able to learn from their stuff. Like, there's obviously, you know, circumstantial, you know, with all of that being said. But, like, you know, like people make mistakes. And I'm not talking about, like... Yeah, I'm not talking. Yeah, but exactly.
Yeah, we don't have to get too deep into that, because that's also like, for sure.
You know, like let's lift.
An example of how much power we have.
Yeah, we have enough fucking awful toxicity and like shit going on. Yeah, so like, let's just bring more peace.
Let's push in the right direction. Yeah, for sure. You know? And I'm glad that you're doing this at such a young age too, by the way, because you said you know, one of the things that you mentioned is that you're one of the youngest out there right now. How many? So like, if you're looking at other video producers that are beside you, what's the average age range in terms of people?
So this is interesting, because it's like, as a director, as a writer, as an actor, as someone behind the cameras, a cinematographer, a DP, like there's really like no age construct to that. Like you could be. I know like people that direct, film, edit, do the VFX for videos that are 16, 17, like that are like filthy, like like talent. Insane. Like that. Like if it wasn't right now, like, you know, like that you didn't even have access to. But as producers, it's always it's a different conversation, because producers is a position of power, and you're in control of everything. So it's like if I'm doing a video and say it's, you know, example, say like a music video is a massive budget, say it's $1 million, like what label or what person of authority that's signing off on that is going to be like, oh yeah, let me let a kid be in charge of that. Like that's how it's, you know, and like to an extent it makes sense, but like you know, but there's levels to that.
Yeah.
So it's not as common for producers to be young in those positions of power to make those decisions, because the idea is that they don't have the experience
necessary,
or, you know, and I'm not saying, like, I've been doing so I was battling that all of my teens. And most people never knew my age, because people always, and I wasn't hiding my age. I was always vocal about it when people would ask, but people always thought I was old because I carried myself older and I knew what I was talking about. Now we're in a time of the social era where I'm sure there is young people out there. I mean, producers, like, there's probably some, I'm sure there's young producers, but, like, you know, I've been paving the pathway in this of, like, fighting against, like, this, like, age, because you can't bracket this stuff. If people have talent and knowledge on what they're doing and they're good at it, like that doesn't matter. But so it's just more, it's less common for producers to be young, and maybe that's changing now, like, because there's so much, like, social media, TikTok, this, that, and the next, so I'm sure there's variations of it, or there's people out there that are producing that nobody knows, that have that talent education.
Possible,
for sure.
All the content that's created nowadays.
For sure. But going back when I started, like, we were not having these conversations. 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
wild, man.
Like,
wild.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have other producer friends, like other video producer friends? Yeah, you do. Okay,
good. Yeah, I mean, like, I have.
It's
like,
good to have people you can relate to.
No, for sure. Because also, like, you know, I don't have, like, an endless list of producer friends, but, like, you know, I have, like. Because this shit takes an army. I'm not going to sit here and say I could do everything by myself, because I can't. Like, that shit will just kill you. So it's like, you know, if I want to have good, like, colleagues and peers that I could reach out and to be like, yo, like, we could kill this together. Let's use both our resources and power to make it happen. So, like, a lot of people are just like, no, me, money, me. No, I'm like, I want to work, grow together, and I want to have the right people, like, at my side, like, doing it together. So I'm all about that community. So, yeah, I have a lot of people that I've produced with.
Who are your favorite directors out here doing music videos? Or, I mean, I guess directors in all ways. You don't have to say music videos only, but, like, even if it's just like...
Nah, I mean, I work with a lot of different directors. I wouldn't say favorites, but I work a lot with a lot of different music video directors. Probably, like, I'll say, like, my most frequent producer to director collab is with my guys Ring Visuals, Alex and Tristan Demick. Like, those are my guys. Like, we've been through, like, the mud to, like, having good budgets, like, great budgets to do videos together. Like, those are my guys, and I believe in them. Like, we did a lot of K-Flox videos. Work with Fivio. We did the Malu videos together. So, like, you know, they're definitely, like, people, and I could name a list of other people innovating as directors too. But, like, we've worked together a lot, and I believe in their vision. And they do everything themselves too. So, like, you know, they're definitely up next. Like,
there you go. That's it. That's awesome. Yeah. So coming to the end of the cast, I want to just share appreciation again for you being here and being willing to come out and just talk about your experience. You know, it's a very valuable experience that not many people get to hear. Mm-hmm. You know, we put a lot of the artists and a lot of the people who are in front of the camera. We put a lot of those people, we give them platforms up pretty often. So it's nice to hear, you know, words from somebody who's really in the trenches doing this thing, you know, making these things happen. Just to end off the show, I want you, if you don't mind, if you got anything coming up or something that's out already that you want people to check out, if there's anything specific that you want people to push or put eyes on, if you go ahead and share that. And then after that, if you don't mind also giving us some words of wisdom, you know, if you wanted to bring anything up that you feel like people should know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so, like, I have, you know, my two videos I have out recently, like the Code video for Offset, and then this Malu video I did for Tulo Tienes, and I have a few videos that are coming out, you know, within the next month, 2 months. So you just got to tune in on Instagram for that stuff, and then I have some movies in development and whatnot. And I also started this platform called Up Next New York to highlight, like, talent on all levels, like from the fucking mud to people that are on the brink of stardom, and I want to, you know, grow that platform to, like, kind of be a voice and, you know, contribute to everything I was saying earlier. Yeah,
that's the Instagram page that's in your bio, right?
Yeah. And in terms of wisdom, you know, I think just, like, full circle of just, like, everything I said, and just like and I, you know, there's so many different things one could say, and, like, everything comes off cliche or just, like, you know, like typical to say. It's just like, you know, It's just like I just create with good. It's just surround yourself with good people and create with good people and just like truly like it sounds so dumb, but I just see too many people get caught up in shit that could have been avoided because of not doing so, and it's just that shit's not worth it. It's not worth your time, energy. Know your value, and like if people don't see your value, don't settle for it. Sure. Like just create, and anyone could create, and it's not a snap of the fingers, so you can't give up on yourself. Like, I tell myself that too. Like I'm not in a position like where I'm I have my battles too, but like
for sure, I feel you, man.
Yeah,
there you go. I'm glad to hear you say that too. Let's just know your worth. That's a big thing that a lot of people are talking about nowadays. That I think needs to be said.
Yeah, I tell directors that more than anything. Directors will come back to me after I put together their budget. They're like, they're like, you sure they're gonna jack this? I'm like, bro. I'm like, this is discounted. Do you understand? When these things are budgeted,
it always is. It always is.
You break down the math.
It always is.
We're getting fucked.
Yeah.
Stop trying to do these people favors, and when we're not even fucking seeing anything, we're not eating from the bigger pot yet.
Tell them, Jamie. That's what I'm talking about, man. I appreciate you being on, man.
Amen. Oh man, thanks for having me.
Of course, man.